joining us today. We've got Creighton head men's basketball coach Greg McDermott. We will start with questions. Again, if you have a question, click on the raise hand feature. We will start today with WOWT's Joe Nugent.
Mac, it's a big game coming up tomorrow. How excited are you guys? What kind of vibe have you got from the players as we approach this one?
I think this year more than ever, Joe. I think guys are excited for every game, and I think you have to be careful not to get too excited because anything could happen the next 36 hours that could throw a wrench into everything, and you're seeing that across the country. But our preparation's been good. We need another good one today. We're gradually, I think, getting back into shape and getting some of that timing back that comes with that. But obviously, we have a heck of a challenge ahead tomorrow.
Next, we'll go to John Niatawa with the Omaha World Herald.
May not have a full sense of this yet, Greg, but is home court advantage a thing this year?
Yeah, I think it's not as big of a thing as it's been in the past, certainly. But I also think there's a level of an adjustment for the home team as well, getting accustomed to playing in your building when it's empty. I mean, there's been a little trickery involved there too, as well. But if I understand correctly, they're going to let a couple thousand fans in tomorrow, and I'm certain the fans that are there, because people haven't been able to go to a sporting event for so long. I would guess the 2,000 or so that are in attendance are going to have a lot of energy.
Next, from White and Blue Review, we'll go to Matt DeMarinis.
Yeah, Mac, I wanted to ask you about the fan policy that they just implemented. It sounds like it's maybe just for a week trial thing, I guess. But are you concerned at all about the maybe enhanced risk of having an extra 1,000 or 2 in there with it's a closed gym and maybe exposing guys that might lead to a pause or a shutdown?
Well, first of all, I appreciate Coach Self that he would do as the experimental week would start it with our game. That was very kind of Bill to do that. But Matt, nobody knows with this virus. I think the biggest difference for me from the summertime, the guys that we had it pretty much knew where they got it, and now this last batch, nobody really knew where it came from. So I certainly trust the protocols that Kansas is going to have in place to keep the players safe, because obviously they're trying to keep their own team and staff safe as well. So, I think these guys want to play, and I think they'd like to play in front of some fans. So, I'm all for it.
Next, from KETV, we'll go to Matt Foster.
Hey, Matt, playing a top 10 team on the road this early in the season, how much is this going to gauge where your team is at, or maybe where you see their potential to be at the season?
Yeah, I think regardless of what happens, I think it's going to be a good barometer for us as to, what do we need to work on? What do we have to get better? I think when you play a team that's as talented as Kansas and a coach that's as good as Bill Self, some of your weaknesses are going to get exposed, and what can we do to clean those up? So, games like this are good. It's fun. I think it's why guys play and coaches coach, is to be in situations like this where you have a good team and you get an opportunity to see what you can do against another really good team. So, we still have a long ways to go. We're not even close to a finished product, and I think you go back to no summer and really a choppy fall, and then some disruptions in our practice and guys being out. Teams in general just aren't where they would normally be the first week in December, and I think we're still a ways away from getting to that point. So this will be a great game for us, and we're excited that it's going to work out.
Next, from the Lawrence Journal World, we'll go to Matt Tate.
Hey, Coach, just wondering real quick what you have seen from Kansas, and also how much that North Dakota State film that you guys have both played them, how much has that helped you?
Yeah, you watch them, and obviously, they're doing some things different with that smaller lineup, and certainly they've had success with that. So that's a little different wrinkle, as Coach Self's teams historically want to just jam it inside on you and punish you in there, and they still have that element to their team, certainly with McCormick and Lightfoot when they're in the game. But they've Gonzaga went up and down with them, and that was they got off to a slow start, got back in it, and then Gonzaga kind of got away again at the end, and North Dakota State was a very controlled pace, very different than how we play. But I think if you watch our team play, we've had times where we look really good in 3 games, and we've had times that we've looked like we haven't played basketball before. And I think every team in the country is guilty of that because of the situation that we've been in. And Kansas certainly hasn't been at their best at all times, but when you've seen their best, it's really, really good. And, they've got talent across the board.
From the Omaha World Herald, we'll go back to John Niatawa.
Yeah, Greg. Normally, you look at a game like this and say, well, this is going to impact the NCAA tournament seeding. Like the committee's going to be watching. They'll look at it 3 months from now. Does that factor in at all when you talk to your guys, just because of the uncertainty of the season, or will you still reference it?
Yeah, we haven't talked about it. I mean, they're smart enough to understand it's a really good team that we're playing away from home, and that wins like this are great for you. But I also think you just have to be careful this time of year not to put too much into one game, just because of the situation that teams are in across the country. So, we'll go down there, we'll give it our best shot, and we'll see if it's good enough.
Next, from Jayhawk Slant, we'll go to Shea Wildeboer.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, I know Mitchell Ballock is from right down the road. Have you had to talk to him maybe about the emotions he'll be feeling tomorrow, or is he kind of one of those kids that's even keeled and won't put maybe too much into it?
I've got a lot of things that keep me awake at night. Mitch Ballock's emotional control is not one of them. He's he just plays the game, and he, one of the few people I've coached over the course of my career that he could have 0 points or 28 points, and you could not tell by his body language how his personal game is going. He's about winning. He's about impacting winning, and we've been blessed to have him here. He's done a lot for this program in the 3+ years that he's been here, and I'm hopeful that we can have some semblance of a normal season, but for him to end on. But for him to be able to go back to Allen Fieldhouse is certainly going to be special to him. He grew up going to KU games, and we got Jed Canfield from Topeka, Nick Zile and Christian Bishop, both from the Kansas City metro area. So it's a cool game for all those guys.
Next, from the Omaha Sports Commission, we'll go to Anna Bellinghausen.
Hey, Coach. How can you speak to the depth on this team and how much that'll help at KU?
Well, I think the last game we were finally able to use it more like I would like to use it. Denzel was just coming back after the North Dakota State game. Certainly still not in the condition that he needs to be in to play at the level that I think he's capable of. But we were able to run guys in and out a little bit more against Kennesaw State. And with a couple more days practice, I think we're even closer to getting that depth right exactly where I want it to be. But we're getting great contributions from, Sharif Mitchell, from Antoine Jones, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Jacob Epperson, all doing a really good job for us off the bench. So, I'm hopeful that, we can use our depth to our advantage the best we possibly can.
We've got time for about 4 more minutes of questions. We'll go to John Niatawa.
Yeah, Greg, you mentioned Mitch's sort of unflappable nature. It's hard to know whether it's going good or going bad. How have you evaluated his first 3 games? Because it is kind of hard to tell how he feels about how he's performed so far.
I think all that matters to Mitch is that we have 3 wins and 0 losses, and I think that's how he evaluates his game. His routine doesn't change. He could make 11 out of 12 threes the night before, and he's going to be in here to do his shooting routine the next morning. And if he goes 0 for 7, he's going to have the same routine. So, he's gotten to where he is because he has a very regimented, daily routine of shooting that he wants to do. And sometimes shots go in, sometimes they don't. Again, that's not something I lose a lot of sleep over with him.
From the Lawrence Journal World, we'll go back to Matt Tate.
Yeah, Greg, you've been in here in the past and obviously brought some teams into Allen Fieldhouse. Do you think this matchup, this Creighton Kansas thing, would be something that could become kind of a regular deal? It'd obviously be good for the Midwest, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, certainly if we'd love to get Bill back to Omaha sometime, that would be good. I certainly don't want it to be Creighton going to Allen Fieldhouse every year without a return game. But I think obviously the history and tradition of their program, the job that Coach Self has done is incredible, and it's a lot of programs across the country, and including ours, are trying to emulate what they do on the court and how consistently they do it, winning championship after championship after championship, and the names change, the jersey numbers change, but their level of success doesn't, and so it's a great game for us, and it's something that. Certainly, if they were interested in continuing, we would certainly be open to that.
We'll go to Matt DeMarinis.
Tomorrow night, I mean, you talked in the offseason about the attention that Marcus is going to get that he probably hasn't gotten before. And tomorrow his matchup is likely going to be against the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the country. How do you prepare him for, what that's going to be like in terms of how disruptive it might be to what he does for everything you guys need to do on the floor?
Yeah, Marcus just got to let the game come to him, which is, I think, one of his strengths. He had all these expectations placed upon him, yet, I think he's got 21 assists and 5 turnovers in the first 3 games. So he's doing his job running our team and getting the basketball where it needs to be delivered at the time it needs to be delivered. And, if that involves him scoring, great. But, obviously Garrett's a tremendous defender, one of the best in the country on the ball. So we'll do some things to try to loosen up that pressure, and move Marcus around a little bit so he's not always, facing that one-on-one pressure versus Garrett. But, Marcus is, he's handled everything great so far, and I know he's excited about tomorrow's matchup.
We got time for 1 or 2 more questions. If there's anyone else with a question, again, click on the raise hand feature. We'll go to Emma Gallagher with the Creightonian, and then Matt Foster with KTV will go last to wrap up Coach McDermott's session.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit already, but since you've seen success from so many players already, what do you think you're going to do to kind of help Marcus out on the floor tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, we just play our game, Emma. We're going to have a lot of situations and a lot of different leading scorers, I think, as we move across this season, and that's okay. And I think that can be a real strength of ours, that you can't point to stopping 1 or 2 guys and you stop our offensive attack, because I think we've shown that we have a lot of guys that can score it. Obviously, Christian Bishop's off to a great start. Kalkbrenner's done a good job off the bench inside, but DJ and Antoine and Denzel have all had their moments. Certainly, Mitch is capable. Sharif gets double figures last game. So I'm not too worried about it. We play team basketball, and at different nights, different guys have to step up, and we'll need everybody to have their A game if we expect to go into Allen Fieldhouse and win.
Go ahead, Matt Foster.
Mac, I know a lot of times when teams play road games, they kind of have a travel routine. Obviously, this is your first road game. Are things going to look a little different, and how does that kind of affect your preparation going into this game?
Yeah, I think you throw all that out the window this year. We're traveling down day of the game. We're going to do our shoot around here and have our meal here and jump on a plane and go down and play and come home. Especially with the Nebraska game Friday night, it was important that we get back at a decent time after the game tomorrow afternoon. So, I think there will be games this year, certainly some Big East games in the Midwest that we'll try to do day of the game to try to protect our team the best that we possibly can, and limit travel as much as you can possibly limit it. So everything's going to be different this year. It's all been an adjustment so far. So you can add travel to that list of things that aren't going to be normal in the world that we're living in today.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll have Mitch shortly.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we're joined now by senior guard Mitch Ballock. We will start with questions. Again, use the raise hand feature. We'll begin with Tom Chattel with the Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Mitch, Tom Chattel here. I was wondering if you have a favorite memory from Allen Fieldhouse, whether it's a game you saw there, or maybe you played a game there, or maybe you and your buddies tried to sneak in and play there, or anything like that, just over the years.
Probably my favorite memory from Allen Fieldhouse was probably the Oklahoma game. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was like a triple overtime game. Just a high level competition. Buddy Hield went crazy. I think he had like 46 or 47. But a close second was the Kentucky game at home as well. They really got up and down. There was high level athleticism, and it was a really good game to attend. So I'd probably say those top two, but probably Buddy Hield in the Fieldhouse was pretty ridiculous.
Next from the Lawrence Journal World, we'll go to Matt Tate.
Hey, Mitch, what's going on?
What's going on? Let's see.
Hey, how many people are you going to have in? No, it's not as many tickets available as it once was. We talked this summer about bringing the whole town.
Yeah. My family, this is going to be the first game where I actually have majority of my family. I have a brother down in Florida and a sister in Brazil. So I'm going to have 10 total people from my family, just with nieces and nephews and sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws type of thing. So 10 total, and then hopefully some other familiar faces I can pick out in the crowd. Yeah, I don't think I heard the question. Did you say did I have trouble getting them in?
Yeah. Did you have to do extra work, or
Yeah.
was it harder?
A teammate helped me out with 4 of them, and then I had my 4, and then my mom knew somebody from my hometown that had some extra tickets available. I don't know how, but my mom just figures things out and she gets things done. So it'll be good. It'll be really fun just to see some familiar faces, like I said, and hopefully see some people that I don't expect to see.
Next, we'll go to White and Blue Review and Matt DeMarinis.
Mitchell, I don't know what you've seen so far from Kansas much, but they seem to have some lineup versatility more so this year than they have in years past. Like, what stands out to you about what makes that particular group dangerous when they put that on the floor?
Yeah, sometimes, they play a lot like we do in a way. Half the time they play 5 guards, and they pose matchup problems that we've posed in the past. Usually, traditionally, they have a guy like Udoka or a big 5 that can really bang on the inside and just pose a lot of problems in the paint. But now they just have a lot of guys that touch the paint and play kind of the way we do. My bad. I was looking at him. They get to the paint and they spray and they just make plays for one another. So they play a lot like we do, and just with a 5-guard system. So hopefully we can match that and just kind of wear them down with our pace and the way we play.
All right, next from Jayhawk Slant, we'll go to Shea Wildeboer.
What's up, Mitch? How you doing?
What's up? Good to see you.
Hey, listen, any extra emotions going into tomorrow? Obviously, I know Coach Stuff recruited you heavily, and you've been to a lot of games there. Any thoughts on the games and just your feelings going into it?
Not really any extra emotions right now. I'm probably trying to slow play it a little bit until I actually am in the moment. But honestly, it's just another game. It's a good opportunity just to see where we're at as a team, what we need to work on, and kind of what we can do to keep getting better. So this will be a good test for us. Building up for the rest of the season, building up into conference play. So hopefully we can get a baseline of where we're at and get a little better. But in terms of emotion, I'm sure I'll have a little bit more adrenaline, especially because this is going to be the first game with a couple thousand fans. So that'll be interesting. But at the end of the day, it's just basketball. You come in, you do what you've been doing the last 3 years, and just have fun with it.
Next from the Omaha World Herald, we'll go to John Niatawa.
Hey, Mitch, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I wonder if you can go back for me. You committed Creighton 2016. What was the young Mitch Ballock thinking about what this program could be then? Like what you have done, how much success you guys have had lately, and what you could do this year. Is it kind of fit into the vision that you have for this program?
Definitely. I'd probably say I am, from a success standpoint, I'm a little under par of what I kind of predicted for the team throughout my 4 years, just because we haven't won a tournament game and we haven't been in that situation to kind of make a run. With that being said, you have that sour taste in your mouth, but at the end of the day, this year, hopefully we put ourselves in a position to make that happen and just get the ball rolling. But, being who we are now, we have a couple new pieces to the team, and just incorporating those guys into what we're doing. You have to do that through all four years that I've been at school. So I think this is going to be a good test for us. I think this is going to be a good test for me personally, as a leader, just kind of getting everybody to gel and everybody to play well together. So that's kind of the challenge, and that's kind of where I see ourselves. But I see ourselves making a run and being very successful this year.
Next up from ESPN, we'll go to Mark Neely.
Should I tell him?
Mark, you're muted.
Yeah.
You got it now?
Yep. Got you.
Okay. Hey, sorry about that, Mitch. Fran Fraschilla and I are looking forward to calling your game in the field house. My question is this. From what I understand, you admitted there were several times you were close to signing with Kansas. So what was the event or events or sequence where you eventually came to the conclusion that Creighton would be the best place for you?
Yeah, like you said, it's kind of hard not to. Obviously, you've been in Allen Fieldhouse. It's an unbelievable atmosphere, and the way they do things is the right. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right or wrong way, but they win, you know. So when you have a program that wins games like that at the level at which they win, then it's appealing to a recruit, especially when you're 15 and 16 years old. So just seeing that so close to home, it was just an opportunity for me to play at the next level and play in front of that atmosphere and those fans. But at the end of the day, I don't think it fit me as a person overall. So I thought Creighton, when I went to Creighton, the opportunities it posed for me right away and the opportunities it posed for me down in my future, I thought it was a better situation for me, and I think it's going to be more beneficial for me playing out. And I haven't had any regrets. I mean, I've been here for 3 years. This is my 4th year, and I've had an unbelievable experience here at Creighton. So I have no regrets. Kansas has done an unbelievable job the past 4 years, so I don't think they missed me that much. So it's been fun being at Creighton. But I am very excited to see you and Coach Fraschilla in the field house. I love when Fran calls games. He's a good guy. We've developed that relationship, so I'll definitely reach out to him. Plus, he's an unbelievable just relationship guy. He always seeks out my parents and sees them. So I have great respect for them and you guys over at ESPN.
All right,
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
We've got about
We'll see you
5 minutes
Tuesday.
left. We'll go back to Matt DeMarinis with White and Blue Review.
Will we see him? Will they be there? All right.
Hey, Mitch, you talked about the extra emotion that's going to go into this game, and obviously from our perspective, we can't ever tell if you're, what's in your head. You always seem like you're thinking about the same things and not nervous. But have you ever been nervous before a game before? Have you ever felt yourself kind of losing control of the emotions before a game? And how have you handled that in the past?
I would honestly say I've never been nervous before a game. I mean, you kind of have that adrenaline and you have those feelings of like, not uneasiness, but not nervousness, because at the end of the day, I put in the work. Come Tuesday, nothing I do now is going to make me a better player going till tomorrow. And outside of like the mental aspect and the preparation for the game, my physical work is done. But at the end of the day, you just got to approach it like you do any other day, any other game. I was actually talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she asked me she asked me that same question. And obviously, you want to perform and you want to play well and you want to do everything you can to win. But at the end of the day, we're just playing basketball. So if you approach it like that, you just do what you're supposed to, take care of your business, and then everything else will follow and everything else will play into itself. So that's kind of my approach. I haven't really been nervous in the past, and I don't really see myself being nervous going forward. But just come out, have fun, and hopefully we can put more points up on the board than the other team.
Next up from 1620 The Zone, we'll go to John Bishop.
Mitch, good morning. Last time you played this close to home was your freshman year, and you went on a little run there against UCLA and put up 20 points. What's the biggest difference between the kid that played that night and the young man who's going to play tomorrow night?
I'd say just experience and maturity. When I was a freshman, I was just kind of running around with like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm still kind of doing that. It's kind of the way I approach games, and I've been successful doing it. But my freshman year, I didn't really understand the college game as much as I do now, and I didn't understand like the game plan and kind of what we're looking for in terms of like approach to every game, mentally and like scheme wise. And I think I understand that more now as a senior. So it'll be an unbelievable opportunity. Obviously, I think that game was also called by Fran. So maybe it's the Fran effect. I don't know. But it'll be exciting. It'll be fun. But I think it's just maturity and growth on those platforms just made me better going into my senior year.
All right, we got time for about 3 more questions. We'll start with John Niatawa with the World Herald.
I want to switch gears for a second here, Mitch. One of your guys, Christian Bishop's off to a good start, and you mentioned in the preseason. I think about his strength and that being the difference. We can see that. But what else has stood out about Christian, the way he's played and made an impact for you guys at the 5?
Yeah, I'd say just attention to detail. His freshman, sophomore year were a lot like my freshman, sophomore year. We were just kind of out there, doing what we need to do, trying not to mess up, honestly. But now CB, he's grown and he's matured, and his attention to detail is a lot stronger and higher than it was. He does an unbelievable job running the floor because he has an ability to. When you have him at the 5, normally the other 5 can't keep up with him from a circumstance of pace. So when he sets the tone and runs the floor and rim runs, I mean, that opens up everything for our offense. And he's starting to understand that. When he was a freshman and sophomore, he didn't really understand that. He didn't really understand running for others, if that makes sense. So once he started to understand that, he does that, and it benefits him more because, I mean, it's kind of pick your poison. Do you want to take away the 3 or do you want to take away the layup in transition? And then obviously we do a lot of pick and roll stuff with the guy filling. He does an unbelievable job of getting downhill, and obviously he's athletic enough to go up and get one above the rim. So it just adds a lot of great aspects to our offense, and he does a good job playing into his role. And I think his numbers this year are really showing his improvement and his attention to detail.
All right, next we'll go to the Lawrence Journal-World with Matt Tate.
Yeah, Mitch, I know you're not one to worry about, things you can't control and that kind of stuff, but with all this rescheduling and the virus and all that, I mean, were there times this fall where you thought, man, I might not get to play this game? What a bad deal that would be.
Yeah, honestly, when we talked in like May or June, whenever we talked, I just kind of took it as a grain of salt. Took it day by day, and we've kind of had a mentality of just doing what you can today, and nothing's promised. I mean, we've seen that last year. We lost the tournament. We talked about that as well, but I never really thought about this game. I never really thought about each individual game. Obviously, you want to go home and play in front of your fans and your family. But if that's not the opportunity you get, and that's not the opportunity that's open to you, then I mean, that's just unfortunate. You move on to the next game. But I think there's going to be a lot of that this year. We've already seen a lot of that this year. Games have been canceled. I think Gonzaga's, they're missing 4 of their next games. A couple opponents like Baylor and some of those teams. So obviously, like, they're losing those opportunities, and we've been fortunate enough to not really miss too many opportunities. Obviously, the Sioux Falls deal is what it is, but I think you just kind of have to take it a day at a time and just move on and take the opportunities when you get them. So this will be good. This will be fun.
All right, well, that will do it for today's session. Thank you again. We will email out the video link when we get it all compiled. Thank you.
Appreciate you.